Somewhere right now, this person is going back and forth about coming back, not next month, not someday, tonight. In some quiet room, with your name sitting heavy in the air around them, they are wrestling with it. You didn't land on this message by accident. Something is shifting, and you were led here because you need to understand what that shift actually means before another night slips by. Here's something almost nobody tells you about the moment a person truly believes they've lost you. The mind doesn't settle. It doesn't just accept the loss and walk calmly forward. It keeps trying to find its way back into your orbit, even when it doesn't want to admit it's reaching. In this message, I want to show you exactly what that looks like and why it's already unfolding with this person right now, whether you can see it yet or not. You didn't stumble onto this video by chance. Something in you called this in. Something in you knew what you needed and it found its way to you. The universe doesn't misplace what it sets in motion, and it placed you right here, right now, at exactly the moment you were meant to receive this. What this person feels for you is love, not habit, not nostalgia, not history that quietly faded into something comfortable and stuck around out of convenience. Love, the kind that doesn't go quiet just because someone decided it should. The kind that keeps resurfacing no matter how many times the person carrying it has told it to stop. Admiration doesn't wake a person up at 3 in the morning. Habit doesn't make someone delete a message 6 times before they even manage a simple hello. What's keeping them up at night is love, and love doesn't take orders from fear. It just keeps burning quietly, whether they want it to or not. You were not imagining any of it. Say that to yourself right now, slowly. You were not imagining it. What you felt between you was real. You didn't invent it out of loneliness or wishful thinking. It was there. It has always been there. And the universe has been watching it unfold every single day without ever looking away. Put your hand flat against your chest for a second. Feel that warmth sitting there. That warmth isn't nothing. That's the exact same feeling that moves through them the moment something reminds them of you. When a familiar song comes on and stops them mid-step, when they pass somewhere the two of you used to go, when they hear a word or a phrase you used to say all the time. That warmth is a kind of frequency, and it travels in both directions. It always has. The universe sees this connection clearly. It's been watching it since the very beginning. It sees what they carry around quietly in the dark. It sees everything they can't bring themselves to say out loud. It sees every night they've spent with your name in their head and nowhere to put it. And it brought you to this message tonight because something is close. Something is shifting on the other side of this silence, and you were meant to know about it. Later on, I'm going to walk you through exactly where their decision is actually coming from. Not what you assume, not even what they assume, but something neither of your minds can fully reach on their own. What I'm about to show you is going to change the way you see this whole situation. Stay with me here. If you're reading this and it's landing somewhere, type the words "they noticed" wherever you're watching this, because they did notice. They noticed the moment you stopped chasing. They noticed the second the energy between you shifted. The universe sees every single person typing those words right now, and what comes next is something you don't want to miss. They are deciding whether to come back, and deciding is not the same thing as not caring. Someone who has truly stopped caring doesn't sit around deciding anything. They just leave. They move forward without a single look back. They don't lie awake over it. They don't pick up their phone and put it back down a dozen times in a row. But this person isn't walking away. This person is standing right at the edge of something, looking back in your direction. That's not indifference. That's someone at war with themselves. And people only fight that hard internally when the stakes feel like everything. You are the stakes here. You have always been the stakes. Here's what that internal war actually looks like right now, and here's the very first thing the mind does the moment it believes it's genuinely losing someone. It starts reaching back through every indirect channel available to it. It tries to slip quietly back into your world without fully committing, without laying itself bare. Small signals come first, little tests, little measurements, quiet checks for signs of life. They check your name. Hours later, they check it again. They look at something you posted, don't react to it outwardly, but linger on it far longer than they meant to. They like something old, something you shared weeks or months back, something a person who had truly moved on would never have gone digging for. They ask a mutual friend a question that isn't really about what it sounds like it's about. They bring your name up in a conversation where it didn't need to come up at all. They let themselves become briefly visible, a view, a story reply, a small moment of presence that lands just inside your awareness and then disappears again just as fast. They're not ready to say anything outright yet, but they're not gone either. They're circling. They're measuring the distance between where they stand and where you stand, trying to figure out whether the space in between is safe enough to cross. Then comes the next phase, the testing. They go quiet, and then, out of nowhere, they resurface. A week of total silence, and then something lands in your inbox. A casual message. A small offhand observation built to look like it means nothing. A check-in dressed up as an accident. A piece of shared history dropped casually into the conversation, as if it just happened to come to mind. Timing that is anything but random. They want to see whether you'll respond, whether the version of you that used to reach back is still reachable, and when that doesn't give them what they were hoping for, the truth starts to leak out on its own. A message shorter than it needs to be, but carrying far more weight than its length suggests. A question they didn't actually need to ask. A sentence that starts out simple and ends up somewhere else entirely. A small crack in the wall they built, just enough for what's behind it to start showing through. That isn't weakness. That's love, finding the only exit it can find. They pull up the last message you ever sent. They read it once, then again. They check the timestamp. They flip the phone face down, then pick it back up a minute later. They open your name, stare at the empty text box, start typing something, delete it, try again, stop halfway through. They scroll all the way back up to the beginning of your conversation history and stop on something you once said, sitting with it far longer than planned. That is not the behavior of someone who has moved on. That is someone fighting something bigger than their own decision-making. That is someone who loves you and simply hasn't found the courage yet to say it out loud again. The universe placed what exists between you two on purpose, with intention. What it places with a reason behind it. It doesn't set something this real in motion between two people just to let it quietly evaporate into nothing. Whatever was set into motion between you is still very much in motion right now. The silence didn't stop it. The distance didn't stop it. No single human decision has the power to undo what something far older than logic set in motion a long time ago. What they feel for you is love, plain and simple. It's not rational. It doesn't answer to logic. It doesn't disappear just because they tell it to. Admiration doesn't do this to a person. Admiration doesn't keep someone tossing and turning until 4 a.m. What's keeping them awake is love, deep, inconvenient, and completely outside of their control. Press 2 fingers gently against the inside of your wrist right now and find your pulse. That steady rhythm has been there through every single day of this silence. It never once stopped. It kept going, exactly the same way what they feel for you kept going, quietly, underneath everything, even when they tried to make it stop, even when they told themselves over and over that it was finished, even when they tried to fill the space with anything else that might replace it. The universe sees every sleepless night they've spent with your name running through their head. It sees them trying to manage a love that was never really built to be managed, and it brought you here tonight because something is moving, something is close. During the daylight hours, the mask stays on. They answer their messages, show up where they're supposed to, look from the outside like someone who's perfectly fine. But at night, none of that management holds up. At night, there's only the truth. They lie there at 2 a.m, staring at the ceiling. By 3, your name is the only thing left in the room. By 4, they're still awake, still caught between wanting to reach out and being terrified of what happens if they do. Even their dreams have turned against their attempts to move on. They can manage their thoughts during the day, but nobody manages their dreams, and in those dreams you are everywhere, laughing your actual laugh, looking at them the way you used to, with no walls up, just warm and present and entirely real. Despite trying to move on, they still deeply love and miss you. Their body, memories, and emotions reveal feelings they cannot erase. If they could speak without fear, they would admit they never stopped thinking about you and that the love they felt never truly disappeared. I'm afraid it's too late. That's the fear underneath every other fear I have. I'm afraid you've already moved past this, found real peace, and don't need anything I might try to bring back into your life now. I'm afraid that if I reach out, you won't answer. I'm even more afraid that you will. I'm afraid of what your voice would do to me, what your face would do to me. I'm afraid I'd look at you and be forced to understand everything I gave up. What if I already used up everything you had left to give me? What if I broke something that doesn't get fixed? What if you looked at me now and felt nothing? I know I hurt you. I know there are things I left unsaid that deserve to be said. I know the choices I made cost you something real, and I wasn't around long enough to witness that cost. I know I probably don't deserve to miss you the way I do. I miss you anyway. I can't stop. I feel like I'm losing the one person I was supposed to hold on to. If you're still here, type, "They noticed" once more, because they noticed you didn't fall apart. They noticed you didn't chase after them. And that quiet realization is exactly what cracked something open inside them. The universe sees you here right now. Stay a little longer, because the single most important part of this entire message is coming up next. Here's what the universe wants you to fully understand. The part I told you was coming. The decision they think is entirely theirs, whether to come back, whether to finally reach out, whether to walk back across whatever distance still sits between you. That decision was never actually made by their conscious mind. It wasn't decided at 2 a.m. while they stared at the ceiling. It was made somewhere far deeper than any of that, at the level where souls actually operate, where fear has no real authority and logic has no real power. The universe doesn't bring two souls together with that kind of recognition, just to casually pull one of them away without any reason behind it. What it places on purpose. And one human mind choosing to act out of fear doesn't get to undo what was already set in motion between you. Their mind is still busy trying to decide, but something far older than their mind already gave its answer a long time ago. That answer was settled before the question ever fully formed in their head, and it has always come back to the same thing. The silence is not rejection. Hear that again clearly. The silence is the sound of someone trying to find enough courage to finally do what they already know deep down they're going to end up doing anyway. This isn't the silence of someone who forgot you. It isn't the silence of someone who's moved on. It's the silence of someone holding something too large to carry comfortably and too real to simply set down and walk away from. You were never the problem here. You have never been the problem. You were the answer. You have always been the answer. Slowly run your fingers down the inside of your forearm right now. Feel that warmth. That's the exact same frequency they feel every time something brings you back to the front of their mind. You are not outside of any of this. You have never been standing outside of it. This connection doesn't need their active participation in order to keep existing. It exists because the universe put it there in the first place, and what the universe places, it doesn't misplace. If you're still with me, type "they noticed" one final time. 4 words would say it, but 2 is really all it takes, because they noticed something in you has genuinely changed, and that change is exactly what puts the next move in their hands now, not yours. Stay a little longer, because what's coming next is about who you've actually become, and it might be the most powerful part of this whole message. Something inside you has shifted. You might not have found the right words for it yet, but you can feel that it's there. Something that used to shake has gone steady. Something that used to reach out constantly has finally stopped reaching. Something that used to sit around waiting has stopped waiting entirely. And in that stillness, something brand new arrived. Something that had been trying to reach you for a long time and finally had the room it needed to land. You used to check your phone the second you woke up, before your eyes had even adjusted to the light. You used to feel your heart sink when a notification turned out to be from someone else. You used to replay old conversations, hunting for the exact moment things went wrong. You used to reread old messages, searching for something you must have missed. You used to analyze every word they said and every word you said back. You used to shrink yourself to make room for someone who always seemed to need more space than you had left to give. You used to apologize for things that were never your fault. You used to explain yourself to someone who wasn't really listening. You used to keep the door open even when standing there was costing you everything you had left. You used to carry the emotional weight for both of you. And then you stopped. You stopped waiting on a message that might never arrive. You stopped checking your phone like it held the verdict on your worth as a person. You stopped shrinking yourself to fit the empty space they left behind. You stopped making excuses for things that never needed one. You stopped measuring your value by how fast someone responded. You stopped begging to be chosen. You stopped bargaining, and you stopped performing your own heartbreak out loud, hoping someone would finally notice it. You became whole, not because anyone came back to you, but because you chose yourself instead. Something inside you decided quietly, without any announcement, that your own peace actually mattered. That your mornings belonged to you and only you. That your nights deserved something far better than more waiting inside them. You became whole entirely on your own terms, and that might be the single most powerful thing that has happened anywhere in this whole story so far. And they noticed. Even across all that distance, even through everything that's happened, they noticed that the version of you who used to stand at the window waiting isn't standing there anymore. They can't fully put a name to what they're sensing, but they feel it clearly enough. And because they felt it, their mind started reaching back the exact way it always does the moment it senses it's genuinely losing someone. First come the small signals, the view, the like. Your name mentioned somewhere, it didn't strictly need to be. Then comes the testing, sudden silence followed by something offhand that isn't really offhand at all. Then the truth starts to leak through on its own. The short message that carries far more weight than its length suggests. The question that quietly opens a door they've been standing outside of for months. That pattern, that whole three-part sequence, is either already happening or it's on its way, because they noticed you changed, and that kind of noticing doesn't have anywhere quiet to settle. In spiritual terms, this moment is sometimes called the sacred threshold. It's the point where a soul stops waiting at the door and becomes the door itself. It's the moment you stop asking to be chosen and instead stand fully inside your own choosing. You already crossed that threshold. You might not have marked the exact moment it happened, but you crossed it all the same, and the universe witnessed every single step you took to get there. The numbers that keep showing up around you aren't random. Seeing 111 when they're thinking about you means a portal has opened, and the decision is already in motion. Seeing 222 means two souls have arrived at a crossroads together, something quietly being arranged behind the scenes. Seeing 333 means your guides are close, holding space open for whatever comes next. Every song that carries a piece of your shared history is a signal. Every coincidence is a nudge from something that simply doesn't do coincidences. The universe has been sending signals to both of you the entire time. Here's the great paradox at the center of all this. The moment you stop reaching is the exact moment you become magnetic. The moment you stop needing someone is the moment you quietly become the most irresistible presence in their life. The moment you finally become whole is the moment the universe rearranges itself around your new frequency. You didn't become whole in order to win them back. You became whole because you deserved wholeness regardless of what they chose. But the universe doesn't waste a transformation this genuine. It puts it to use. It's putting it to use right now. Press both hands flat against the tops of your knees for a moment. Feel how steady that is. That steadiness is who you are now, the sacred threshold you're standing on. That same steadiness is something they can't find anywhere else, with anyone else at that same frequency. Nobody else has ever given them what you give them. That's not just something nice to say, it's a fact the universe has been holding for you this whole time. The same energy that holds galaxies together in their spiraling paths has been holding you steady too. The same force that pulls the ocean toward the moon has been pulling you toward something far greater than whatever you think you lost. You are not some small character in a small, forgettable story. You were made from the same material as everything enduring and vast and beautiful in this universe. The universe has been watching over you this whole time. Every second of this silence, every quiet morning, every long sleepless night, every moment you wondered whether any of it had even been real, it was watching. It never once looked away. You are loved, not only by this one person, but by something far bigger than any single person could ever be, by whatever force decided you should exist, by whatever energy placed you in this exact life, with this exact capacity to feel things as deeply as you do. No distance can shrink that. No silence can reach it. Bring both hands up to rest gently on either side of your face right now. Just hold your own face for a second. That's your body reminding your mind exactly who you are. That's the sacred threshold reminding you that you've already crossed over it. You are no longer the person standing around waiting. You are the person who is finally ready. And readiness carries its own kind of magnetism. Readiness is exactly what the universe has been quietly building inside you since the very first day of this silence began. Maybe what comes next will be a message, something simple, 3 or 4 words sent all at once, something they weren't even planning to send until suddenly they were. Maybe it will be a look shared across a space that used to feel ordinary, holding everything that was never finished between you. Maybe it will come from a direction you'd long since stopped watching. Either way, you're ready. The sacred threshold is behind you. You're standing in open space, and the universe has a way of filling open space with exactly what belongs there. You were seen on every morning you got up and kept going with nobody around to witness it. You were seen on every night. You kept your heart open when closing it off would have been so much easier. You were seen on every afternoon you chose something closer to grace when bitterness was sitting right there instead. You were seen in every tear that fell when nobody else was in the room. You were seen in every quiet prayer sent into a silence that felt like it wasn't listening back. You were seen in the exact moment you finally stopped waiting and became whole on your own. You were seen. You have always been seen. The universe has not looked away from you, not even once. None of this was in your imagination. The love was real. The connection between you was real. Everything you felt from the very beginning, and every moment since, was real too. You were never desperate, and you were never foolish. You were simply someone who loved fully, without holding anything back. That's not a flaw in you. That's genuinely one of the rarest things there is. All this time hasn't made you less. It's made you rare. And rare is exactly what they're standing at the edge of, caught in their own fear, trying to find the courage to walk back toward. Their fear belongs to their journey, not to yours. Their hesitation is a lesson the universe assigned specifically to them, not to you. Their timing is their own karma to work through. Whatever courage they still need to find, they have to find entirely on their own. None of that is yours to carry anymore. Their choice belongs to them. Their story belongs to them. And your peace, your wholeness, your life, all of it belongs completely and entirely to you. Nobody else's choice can reach in and touch what you've quietly built inside yourself. Nobody else's silence has the power to undo the threshold you've already crossed. The universe placed something inside you that no human decision has the power to remove. It was placed there with intention, and it was placed there to stay. You are the sacred threshold. You always have been. And the universe has decided it's time for you to know that fully, without any doubt left in you. If this message found you at exactly the moment you needed it, let that be part of your story tonight. Share it with someone who needs to hear these words, someone quietly carrying all of this in silence, someone who needs to know that what they felt was real and that they haven't been forgotten. You are not waiting anymore. You are whole. You are seen, you are loved, and the universe already knows exactly what's coming next.